around about an hour ago to be missing out on this stepladder final. Then he goes and bowls a 300, gets in by 14 pins, knocks out Nicky Ainge in phase 1 of the stepladder final, and here he is against the European #1. And Rob Thurlby leads it off, and he's continued his form from the previous game. And if you take that previous scorecard, Cass, that's 5 strikes in a row for Thurlby.
Yeah, and doesn't he look cool? He certainly won't be put off playing against Dominic Barrett. They're good friends, they've played together before. It's head to head, it's only 10 frames, and Rob knows, well, on my day I want to beat him. So it's a great match been set up here.
And that slow-mo just illustrating exactly where the bowlers look. I think a lot of people think that the bowler looks down at the pin deck. Actually, they're looking at the arrows on the wooden boards.
Some bowlers look at the arrows, which are about 10 to 12 feet down the lane. Some bowlers look for their break point, which is at about 40 odd feet down the lane, but they certainly don't look at the pins. The only time they actually, their eyes go onto the pins is when the ball's actually halfway down the lane.
I think that's where I've been going wrong all these years then, Cass.
Well, Dom's started with a 10 pin in the corner, had the messenger, couldn't quite kick it out.
He was a bit sketchy in the warm-up, to be honest. We saw him throw that last practice ball before we got this stepladder match underway, and throughout the practice he kept looking down at his feet, he kept looking at the foul line, takes the spare ball out and demolishes that 10 pin, and the shake of the head, for some reason he's not happy on this lane.
It may well be that he's having a bit of trouble with his approach, with the slide of the shoes. He's got a rosin bag there to dry his thumb before that goes into the bowling ball.
That was very Wes Malott of him, wasn't it, as he got the rosin bag out. He was obviously copying one of his heroes.
All the top pros do. And that's a much better looking shot as well in frame number 2. Classic 5-step approach. Very high backswing. Look at that, almost right over his head. Deep knee bend and slide. Follow through. Cranks the wrist and puts some rotation on the ball. You can see it hooking up there. Right up into the 1-3 pocket. Carries all 10. It's long, it's down to 41 feet. They have to get through that oil and get the ball hooking. So they have got to put plenty of rotation on it to get the reaction like that Rob Thurlby's just got. Hit the pocket and absolutely blasted them away. 3 from Switzerland, a couple of French bowlers, 1 from Australia, Belgium, Denmark, all represented here in the tournament. Fantastic.
But it's the flag of St George that is flying high over the stepladder final, and it is Rob Thurlby that is flying high in this match.
He started game number 1 against Nicky Ainge with 3 strikes in a row. He's done exactly the same here against Dom Barrett.
Now, Dom Barrett needs to stay in the strike zone, and that's come back very nicely indeed, but he's still not happy. Something's affecting his game at the moment.
Yeah, the facial expression tells us that something is not quite right. What it is, we don't know. It was a good looking shot. Maybe he just stuck there a little bit on the approach. His future is laid out on the world stage, and unfortunately he's had an open frame there. He's missed a 3-pin, it slid straight past it. But as you say, Simon, yeah, his future is assured as a professional bowler, whether it be in Europe or around the world, or in fact on the PBA Tour in the United States.
Yeah, interestingly enough, he says on his bio that he can see himself living out in Australia in Melbourne in a few years' time, but as the great Aussie bowlers over the years have found out, you have to travel, and Jason Belmonte is a man that underlines that fact, currently flying high on the PBA.
Yes indeed, yes, having a great success out there. Rob Thurlby looking for 4 strikes in a row. And how confident does he look as he rips the rack yet again? And that is the 4 in a row. So it's off to an absolute...
Incidentally, and then winner of that one will play Joe Cundy. Oh dear, what's happened here?
Just a little bit of encroachment on the right hand side. He's done the right thing. He's obviously caught something that's moved out the corner of his eye. And yeah, you're probably right, Simon. But he's regrouped and he's back and looking for another strike. Very nice too. How about that? 5 strikes in a row. He's making it look so easy.
Fantastically done by Rob Thurlby, who's already had a 300 in this tournament. Or are we not going there yet, Cass?
Strikes together. Better looking shot. You've got some reaction in the back end as the ball came off the oil. The the dry part of the lane, turned up very nicely.
Good shot from the 25-year-old Essex boy, 2009 World 10-pin Masters champion. Has kicked on from that win, which he notes as his favourite moment in 10-pin bowling, and he will not like that at all.
Well, I mean, look how wide the shot was. Just stayed to the outside of the lane, got hooked up in the lane oil. The rotation is not going to bring that one back at all. He's missed the headpin on the right-hand side. He's left the 1, 2, 6, 8, 10. And what a horrible mess that is. Very tricky-looking spare. Likely to be an open frame, and is.
Well, he went after it. He tried to get that messenger to kick around and knock everything over, but I'm afraid he's got 2 red frames, 2 open frames, and it's doing some tremendous damage to his score. And
saying good night, Don Barrett. And there it is. Look, trips the 6-pin forward. And how fortunate was that? But it makes 6 strikes in a row.
Well, this is bizarre. Rob Thurlby would have come into this match expecting a massive scrap, and Don Barrett just hasn't got it together, and consequently hasn't put any pressure on Rob, and Rob is throwing beautifully.
Yeah, it was definitely a bonus on that shot as the 6-pin came forward, but they all count, and Dom is slightly looking perturbed, looking at possibly a defeat within 7 or 8 frames.
Yeah, but unlike match play in golf, this won't be called to a halt. You've got to bowl right through, and that's a shame. Well, I was being very good there, Cass. I wasn't mentioning the maximum, but I'm afraid it isn't going to be for Rob. It's still going to be a handy score, whatever happens from here.
Hard straight, and there's the spare. So he stays clean all the way through the game, and that is a great looking scorecard.
Yeah, very nice work from Rob. So we often frames, it's very often the case that they will strike through to that point. But the televised 300s don't come along very often.
Well, better looking shot from Dom. Got a lot of work to do if he's to stay in this game, and unfortunately it may well be gone already.
Well, he's hurried things up, Cass. He went straight up and threw the ball.
I mean, it was nowhere near the pocket. It hit the headpin, and he got that hit him thin, make him spin type scenario. It certainly wasn't a good shot in the pocket, but he's managed to get 10 pins from it.
Yeah, I don't think he's too worried at the moment. I think the pressure's off as far as he's concerned. This result is done and dusted. And despite qualifying through as the number 3 seed, Dominic Barrett is going to have to say goodbye. He's had the strikes, but unfortunately he's also had the 2 open frames.
Just has to keep the ball on the lane, keep it in play, hit some wood, as they say, and he'll be progressing to the next round of the stepladder final. And I think just Dom's ready to go home by the look on his face, isn't it?
Oh, it's not been a great day at the office for the youngster. And I say youngster advisedly. Still only 25 years of age and with so much to look forward to in his career. But unfortunately, at the moment, doesn't have a next round of this English Open to look forward to.
Events that held over there in the World Series of Bowling.
Well, he wants to be world number 1, does Dominic Barrett. He's already made it to European number 1. And you wouldn't bet against him, but he's going to have to go out and pit his wits against the big boys at some stage. Rob Thurlby, though, counts as the big boy at the moment in this tournament. He won't be too concerned about what's just happened there. Very often players, you know, when they know the 300's not on, when they know they're through, Cass, they will have a bit of an experiment on the lane. And that's what he looks like when he's winning. Goodness me, I wonder what he looks like when he's losing.
Don't meet him on a dark night.
It's decent because it's clean.
No, it's a good looking game. I mean, you can start with 6 strikes in a row. You're probably going to win. If you just stay clean, you're going to win most games. That's Don Barrett to finish off. He's experimenting, changing lines as well. Moved his feet way left on the approach. And just put lots of rotation on it. Buried the ball in the pocket for a strike. Unfortunately, it's all a bit too late.
Fancying his chances.
So will Zara with 8 pins bonus. But let's wait and see. Go for frames there, right in the middle, on the same lane. Just about killed this game off, I'm afraid. He'll put it behind him and he'll move on.
As you can see, he's already surpassed Dominic Barrett's total. Now, would like to strike this off the card here. He may get a bit of reaction as well from the crowd, who will start the slow hand claps.
Doesn't really matter. Squares that out, earns the bonus ball, and he can be 240 plus with another strike here.
Comfortably gone past the 200 barrier. And here we go. Let's see. Well, he's resisting the temptation to show off too much. I think as far as Rob's concerned, there's a job still to be done here. 245 though, Cass. That is good bowling.
Absolutely, yeah. You could certainly hope to win most games on that sort of score. Great game.
So Dominic Barrett goes out. The European #1 has been knocked out of this stepladder final. And Rob Thurlby, who looks to be in great nick, the man that got through in the last seconds of the qualification phase.